What's up, everybody? Welcome back to my Twisted Life in TV. I'm Poetry. You are here for a recap and review of This Is Us Season 5, Episode 1. I'm losing my voice, y'all, because I'm just from exhaustion. It's the only reason why I'm losing my voice. So I meant to do this video the other day, and it didn't happen because I couldn't speak. But first of all, let me start off saying that this was a two-part episode. Both of them were titled 40, Part 1 and Part 2. Because this is a two-part episode, I am going to do this video in two parts. I've been eating something already this morning, which make my tongue blue. Sorry about that. And next week, there is the election on Tuesday night. So there is no episode of This Is Us if you were unaware of that. I'm kind of unorthodox because I'm in my office and I'm cleaning my office. I'm reorganizing my office, remodeling my office, so to speak. So you see all my vacuums and everything in the background. So apology for that. Let me start off by saying welcome back. Not just welcome back to the fans. Welcome back, This Is Us. For the first season of This Is Us, this was the show that was known to make you go grab your tissue. Season 1, every episode in Season 1, I cried. Like thug tears. Y'all know I'm a thug. Thug tears, I cried. Season 2, I cried a little less. Season 3, I didn't cry at all. Season 4, I was more angry than sad. But it still drew emotion from me, and that's what I loved about this show. They used real life situations and rolled it into the episode. Real life situations from our past, from our present, and where the future may be going. And they wrote it all into one episode and presented to us in beautifully written script. And I've loved that about that show. So the fact that it drew emotions from me is a show that, like, really, you know, really gets me. Like, oh, I really get it. And this particular opening, this season opening, really laid it out there on the table for me. It was powerful. Episode 1 and Episode 2, powerful. And I see, just from being over on the This Is Us fan page on Facebook, that y'all are gonna bring me out. Y'all gonna bring out my thug nature, I swear for goodness. Just based off of that Facebook page. You remember how it was when Little Fires Everywhere was going on? All the arguments I was having on This Is Us, on Little Fires Everywhere Facebook page, and the racists started peeling back the claws. They pulling back the head covers and everything. They were coming out. The allies who really ain't allies really coming out. They feeling convicted. They feeling convicted. And I found myself going over to that page, checking the shit out of a lot of people. And then after a while, it got exhausting. It got so exhausting that I stopped. And I kind of stopped mainly just out of respect for the girl who was hosting the page. This is being hosted. This Is Us page is being hosted by the actual network. There was another separate girl who was hosting the Little Fires Everywhere page. So out of respect for her, because she invited me to engage in the conversation, I decided not to keep going the way I was going because I was angry all the fucking time on that page. But This Is Us on their Facebook page, when they showcased the season premiere, many people were on the page pissed the fuck off. Pissed off. I guess they realized that Randall was black now. You know, Randall has always been a safe black. Usually dark-skinned and black people don't get a pass. But Randall was given a pass with the white community because, one, he was raised by a white family. Okay, so these white people feel that Randall owed them something. They saved him. Ooh, the Captain Saberhoes is what they were for Randall. If it wasn't for these good white folk, Randall wouldn't have been shit as a person. Everything that Randall is because of Randall. They didn't do nothing special with his mind to make him as intelligent as he is. That was inbred in that boy. I mean, look at the other fucking two kids. Okay? So please don't sit here and try to tell me that Randall is so much better off as a person because of the fucking piercings. No, his mind was all in him. He was born and bred with that. You know what I'm saying? He may have been in a different situation as far as a house coming up. Instead of being in that 1-bedroom apartment or 2-bedroom apartment, you never knew where life was going to take his family. You never knew where life was going to take his family. But he may have been better off at that particular time because he was put into a home or with a family. But you had a home with a family with a dad that was a fucking alcoholic. You have a mom who was fucking controlling, a liar, can't be honest with herself or with the people around her. You have a grandmother who's fucking racist as fuck. You had a daddy who was classist. Look how he responded to Jack. A brother who grew up not liking you because you had fucking existed. And he picked up some of that racist mindset from his grandmother, even though he probably didn't understand what the fuck he was doing. You have a sister who was so broken with low self-esteem that she's now 400 fucking pounds. She's eating away her pain. This family ain't fucking perfect. This family ain't fucking perfect. Jack lied to his whole family, telling people his brother was dead for years. His mama was getting her ass beat by his abusive ass father. This family ain't perfect. That's what a lot of people don't get and don't understand, is when sometimes when you put these children into these adoptive families, it doesn't mean that they are now magically in this fucking utopia where everything is peachy keen and no shit go wrong. It don't happen that way. This family ain't fucking perfect. It ain't fucking perfect. And the fact that somebody said it, I'm gonna come back to it, but somebody in the comment section said exactly what I'm thinking right now. It's fucked up that they made his parents dopeheads to start off with. His mama, his daddy, they on drugs. Tawana, wasn't she, not only was she using, she was being used by men, and she put men over Deja. You know what I'm saying? And the black people that we do have interweaving on this show, we saw so little of Belle's family until later seasons. Randall's friends, they came in every once in a while, but we see a lot of Kevin's friends. Kate really didn't have any. You know what I'm saying? Her friends were Kevin's friends pretty much. You know what I'm saying? But as far as like, as an adult, where's Randall's friend? He has Beth to lean on. That's his only friend. And we made that realization today in this particular episode when Lil Malik came by the house. We made that realization today that Randall has no friends. He had friends in college. I wonder what happened to those friendships. Are we ever going to explore those friendships? Why they don't come around him? I thought Randall pledged too. Where's his friends? Where's his support base other than his wife? Where are they? You know what I'm saying? He's not even friends with Malik's dad. You know what I'm saying? He doesn't know how to be in friendships with people who, for lack of a better term, been black all their life. You know what I'm saying? Because he was raised in a white household. The people who are on This Is Us page right now who are so fucking mad that Randall would not apologize to Kate, or who would not empathize with Kate in the moment when she's just reaching out. She's trying to be a friend. You know, she's been having self-esteem issues all her fucking life, and the way he talked to her was just wrong. Those are the same people who was mad at Delroy Lindo when he was the judge on the show doing adoption proceedings. These are the same people that was mad at him when he sat there and told Becca ass, you don't know how to raise a black man. He's going to be missing out on so much as a black person by being placed in this white household. And I told y'all at that time that I was kind of back and forth with that, you know. I agree 100%. However, I still do believe that isn't, I still believe he still can have a successful upbringing in a mixed race household. That's a good way to say it. I have family members that are like that. I just found one of my cousins who was born in adopted into a mixed race household. I told them find a lot of my family members on Ancestry, and a lot of them have been adopted out. But the fact that they made Randall's parents drug addicts to start off with, and it just seems like all the broken people are broken. I think even Malik's dad had been in prison. They're all broken, you know what I'm saying? Randall seems to be the only successful black person on this show. Because even when they had Delroy Lindo, the judge, they made him seem like he had such hate and vitriol towards white people that he couldn't be liked. Nobody liked that character. It seemed like that. So yeah, Randall has been our safe one. Randall has been our Obama. He's been our dark-skinned Obama. You know what I'm saying? So on the Facebook page, a lot of people was, like I said, they were so mad that they brought in Black Lives Matter. They were so mad that they brought in C-19 because they're tired of hearing that shit. You know what I'm saying? You know what? Let me get into this recap and review. I gotta be at work in 50 minutes, and I need to get out the door in 20. So, but never in the history of this show have I seen fans with so much hate towards an episode. I mean, they decide they're gonna start watching the whole fucking season because they realized Randall black. Hell, Randall even realized he was black. You know what I'm saying, in this particular episode. But if we're gonna recap a little bit, just to give us catch us up, Baby Jack and Lucy, his wife, they had a baby girl. Kate and Toby adopted a baby girl. They named her Haley. Haley is the young lady who was work in the art gallery in last season. And she's sleeping with an actor. You know what I'm saying? When they said that, they try to make you believe that it was her uncle. Then you realize that she's, Kevin's niece. We know that Kevin ended up sleeping with Madison. And on the day that Kevin and Randall had their massive blow up, all that blow up, that right there, Randall told Kevin that you ain't even trying to be daddy, you trying to be me, and you're really bad at it, you're a bad performer. He told him that you are selfish, you only think about yourself. But that when Dad died, he was ashamed of you. And I think Kevin was telling him that if it was him, he'd have been the man enough to run to that house. Our father would not have died. I'd have ran into them burning flames just to save that man. And then Randall tell him that, but you wasn't there. Like you've never been. You've always never been there. Even when you're here. I got pigmentation loss right there. Even when you're here, you're not here. He said that, yeah, he was ashamed of you. And how does it feel to know that your father was ashamed of who you were? And then Kevin in turn turned around and told him that I thought the day my daddy died was the worst day of my life, but I realized that the day that they brought you home was the worst day of my life. He said, my right hand to God, that was the worst day of my life. That whole argument, I sat here like I cannot believe they are saying this shit to each other. You know what I'm saying? And after Kevin made that statement, though, that was the worst woman in his life when Randall was brought home, he felt it. You saw it over his face, like, I can't believe I fucking said that shit, but I'm not taking it back. And Randall was like, got you. And he walked away. On that same particular day, that's when Madison came and told Kevin that she was pregnant. She was about 3 months then, because she already knew she was having twins. And we saw Becca walk out of the house to go buy a cake, and she had an episode and loses her way, and Randall starts to go into therapy. That all happened last season. There was a lot of other things going on with Nikki, but just to catch y'all up. So this particular episode, we pick up exactly where we left off with Madison and Kevin talking about the pregnancy. I love how they wove the C-19 into this storyline. like I said, she's pregnant with twins, so she's about 3 or 4 months pregnant. I think they could detect it with the ultrasound around 16 weeks, 14 weeks at the earliest. But yeah, she's having twins. Maddie was like, I'm not going to ask you for anything. I don't want nothing from you. But Kevin, he says he's all in. And I cannot help but believe that the reason why Kevin wants to be all in with this pregnancy is because Randall just told him a few seconds ago, you don't think about nobody but yourself. All of your actions has always been about Kevin. Okay, so that, I believe that's the only reason why he decided to go all in with Madison. Okay, like I say, we're in the middle of the C-19, and Maddie is like, I can't believe all this shit is happening while the world is falling apart. And Kevin is like, I mean, you talk about the virus, it's cool, you know what I'm saying? I'm an actor. If anything's going wrong, I should know. And then he gets a call from his agent. And, you know, so you get how all the celebrities are started being affected by the C-19 with this episode, because he's an actor who can't film. He can't go on set. All the Hollywood was shutting down. Remember all that? He knows now. He knows that it's serious. So the girls, the Pearson girl ladies there at the house discussing all the myths, the early myths about catching the virus. And Becca's clinical trial was canceled, so she couldn't go to St. Louis. And so her and Miguel decided they're going to go to the cabin and kind of wait it out. You know, people thought this was going to pass in a few days, few weeks, whatever. So they was going to go to the cabin and kind of wait it out. And then Beth was online and found out Tom Hanks had it. You know, Kate loved her some Tom Hanks. So Brandon was like, oh, I got to call my doggone sister. You know, this right here was setting up the scene of how close Randall and Kate was. Like, Kate has always protected Kevin. Randall has always protected Kate. Always. So the separation, the divide in their relationship during this episode, it carries a lot of meaning, carries a lot of significance, because they were really close. They always checked on each other. Even if he didn't talk to Kevin, him and Kate talked to each other, I'm saying. And at this point, Randall and Kevin have not spoken with one another. They still haven't spoken with one another. So Randall, like, I got to call my sister and break the news first. She can't hear this from nobody else but me, right? So, well, while Randall was planning on calling Kate with the news, Kevin shows up at Kate's house, mask on and everything. Kate like, hey, step back, don't even come on the porch, you know, back it up. You know, they trying to do their social distance and everything. And Toby like, what's up? Why you drive all the way over here for this? What's going on, right? And he said, what you do, knock somebody up? So Kevin like, okay, well, come on out the car. Maddie get out the car, and Toby like, why is Maddie here? Why is Maddie here? What's Maddie doing here, Kevin? He had to say that like 11 times. I swear for goodness. This can't be. No, wait a minute. She stepped out pregnant too. You can see her belly full and everything. What's going on? What's going on? Kate is just like flabbergasted. It's flabbergasted, right? Well, Kevin tells him, look here, hold your horses. It's a little bit more than just her being pregnant. Not only is she pregnant, she's pregnant with twins. Okay, so surprisingly, Kate was extremely happy about this. I thought that she was going to, the way that her face was in the beginning, I thought she was going to react really bad about this. My best friend slept with my brother. My brother's always taking my friends away. You know what I'm saying? That's how it had been growing up. She's literally the only friend we have. And okay, but now she's part of the family. That's pretty much it. Welcome to the family, Madison. So the twin situation, I wonder if these twins are going to be born on the Pearson's birthday like everybody else. Wasn't baby Jack born on the Pearson's birthday? Or somewhere close around it. Somewhere close around it. Because we know Big Jack was. So Kevin thinks that him and Madison should stay together and quarantine together, because everybody's quarantining right now. You know, of course, this is going to be for the short haul, most people think. They barely know each other, though. he wanted to rent like an Airbnb or something like that. And she's like, no, this is my house. This is where I feel comfortable. But I got a guest room. You can stay in that guest room. So they're going to move in together. And I think this is going to be interesting to see. They plan to stay in separate rooms in her house. Then Randall hit Kevin up. So it seems like Randall reached out to Kevin first. Randall hit Kevin up. And this is probably the first real contact that they've had since the blow up. And he had a long, laughable text, you know. And then he just short-handed it to, I heard about the news, congrats, you know, because Kate told him. And then, you know, Kevin, in like, responded with a very long, you know, man, it's good to hear you, bro, type situation, type of text. And then he shortened his text to, thanks, you know. The tension is still hella thick between those two at this point. I think for both of them, their pride is too strong to apologize. But when you mean what you say, you don't apologize. That's how I feel about it. You say what you mean and mean what you say. And at this point, I think fuck it, you know. I think they should apologize to each other for. I think they should. I think they should talk. Not necessarily offer an apology, but really sit down and talk about how they're feeling with one another. But apologies. If you meant it, fuck it. I ain't taking that shit back. I'm not taking it back. Well, after he gets that message, Randall also gets a notification about the George Floyd murder. The sadness that he felt, that they showed his face from those different angles, the sadness, the anger that set in on Randall came through me all over again. I was with Beth though. I couldn't watch it. I was one of those people that couldn't watch the video. It is just too much, as she said. I have yet to watch that video. I won't watch that video. I won't watch another murder play out in front of me on TV. I'm not. I got to protect my mental space. And we see that the girls was doing it a little later on when they was all sitting around TV watching the protest play back. And Tess was like, can we turn this off? Can we turn on something else, please? And then they switched the channel and turned on Family Feud, where you saw a black family and a white family together, enjoying entertainment with one another, shaking hands, you know, in the spirit of competition. While you got all this chaos and everything happening over on the other channel, it's easy for a lot of people to turn the channel and turn it off so they won't see what's happening. But we as black people, even if we turn the TV off, even if we cut the news, silence the radio, we still walking through it and living it every day in our life, every fucking day. So but like I said, I got enough on my mental plate that I don't want to keep filling it with tragedy. Like I say, it happens every day. And that fucking weight is heavy. It is exhausting to carry the weight of aggression, oppression, racism against. It's heavy weight. It's a heavy weight. And those angry fans on the This Is Us group, I saw Slim Jim over there. I saw him over there in the group. Trisha Ann said she's over there in the group too. I haven't seen her post yet, but I saw his, and he was going in. He was going in. Okay, but I'm so tired of all you angry fans who are tired of hearing about Black Lives Matter, who are tired of hearing about George Floyd, who are tired of hearing about racism, who want us to just get the fuck over it. Y'all don't want it on y'all TV. Y'all just want escape. I think a lot of people in that group were saying, I come to this show to escape from reality. How can you get escape from reality in the show? And this show has been all about reality. That's all this show has ever talked about, is things that happen in real life. That's all this show has ever been about. But now that it's talking about black people and more death, because we've hinted on racism. We've hinted on it. But in death, now you have a problem with it. We as black people, we tired of living it. We tired of living it. So in short, fuck you and your uncomfortable feelings. That's how I feel about it. Fuck you and your uncomfortable feelings. Are you feeling convicted? Is that what's going on? You're feeling convicted, you know what I'm saying? Like, sit with those feelings. Just like Kate said that she was going to do, sit with those motherfucking feelings. Let them eat away at your peace. Let them eat away at your peace. Let them gnaw right at the tailbone of your spine. Just eat. Let them feelings just like encompass you. Eat you up from the inside out. Sit with those motherfucking feelings. Understand why you feel the way that you feel. Why you so mad to see it. You just want to turn the channel and turn it off. And we living with it every fucking day of our lives. You know what I'm saying? Let that feeling blow your fucking mind like bullets to backsides. Okay? Like knees into necks. Like chokeholds sucking the life out of us every fucking day. You know what I'm saying? Live with it. Live with it. Live with it. Let it tear away at your peace until there is justice. Because no justice, no peace. Not even for you. Okay? It's nothing to be comfortable with. Nothing to be comfortable with. Okay, so anyway, through therapy, we learned that Randall is stressed at work. The food banks are overrun. They having a storage problem. Everybody's hoarding everything. You know what I'm saying? We back in the early stages, and he got to lay off hundreds and hundreds of employees. And Dr. Lee is like, you know what? I'll hear all that, but I want to know about you. How are you doing during this time? And then Randall shuts down. And at this moment, I realized that when it comes to race-related subjects, I don't discuss that with my therapist either. Y'all have heard me talk about this a million times on this channel. I love my therapist. This is the first time I've had a therapist that I felt like I connected to truly. She is a white woman. And I think maybe, I can't even say it's because she's a woman, that because I've had women therapists before who's just been some condescending ass bitches. Like most the fans that I'm seeing on that page. For some reason, this particular white woman got me. I don't know what it is about her. However, but when it comes to race-related subjects, I don't talk to her about it at all. I don't discuss that. I have such high regards for her, but some things she just don't understand, won't understand. And unfortunately for me, as a black person, black therapists in the VA, I don't see them. Whether they black men or black women, I don't see those therapists. So finding me a black therapist that's relatable, I doubt it. I doubt it. And I think at this moment is when Randall was really coming into the realization, I'm black. They focused on his hands. And they focused on his hands, I believe, for two reasons. One, to show his apprehension of discussing those issues with the therapist. But two, just to seep into that melanin. Randall's a black man. A very dark, melanated black man. And that shot of his hands just made his melanin radiate. Even throughout the episode, you can notice Randall had on chapstick a lot. It brought out the black hues in his lips a little bit more, made him a little bit more pronounced. You were seeing Randall's blackness being exasperated in every way on this episode. In every fucking way. I'm running out of time and space. Give me a sec. Okay, so in that moment, what basically Randall was saying was, no, Dr. Lee, I don't feel comfortable with talking to you about everything. And that's what she was trying to say. Randall, I want you to feel comfortable talking to me about anything. She had already told him before that black men don't even seek her out for therapy. You know what I'm saying? So she wanted to ask Randall, why did he feel the need to seek her out? And, you know, he just don't feel like she can understand what he's going through, right? So being black in America is one of them things. Being a black man in America is a whole nother facet in itself. So, like I said, they were sitting at home watching the protest, like I was saying, and Kate is sending Randall pics of her at the protest, little Jack out there, you know what I'm saying, with this protest sign in support of Black Lives Matter. And she asked Randall, where could she donate? I felt it. I felt Randall in that moment when she asked that. And then Beth was like, dear white people, the black people you know, we are not the sensei on everything black. You want to know information? Find out for yourself. Okay. We are tired of explaining things to you. And I posted it to that Facebook group today. Stop explaining shit to white people. Stop explaining shit. And I mean it with the utmost of my heart. And I have white people that I care about very dearly. I'm not going to explain shit to you anymore about being black. Stop explaining shit. You know what I'm saying? After 400 plus years of oppression against the black race of people, there's come some point in your life that you need to make a conscious choice to stop being ignorant. You need to make that choice. You need to make the conscious choice to want to do something about injustice, about unfairness, about lack of accountability, about racism on your own. You have to realize at some point on your own that it's not up to us who have been oppressed as a people to educate you who are people of the oppressors on how to not oppress people. That's why this whole narrative like, oh, we just need to come sit down at the table and talk at the table. It's been 400 plus fucking years. What are we still talking about? Why do we have to keep talking to y'all motherfuckers about how to not treat us? After 400 plus fucking years. That's something that's inbred in you. That's something that you need to deal with yourself. You need to check your motherfucking self. You need to sit with your fucking feelings about that shit. You are not that dumb. You are not that dumb to not see what's going on around you every day. Okay? Maybe because you keep turning your fucking TVs off. You keep turning the blind eye. You don't want to see it play out on your screen. You walk past it on the street like that's not your business. The system is broken because of your race of people. You break it, you fix it. You break your body. You break it, you fix it. And you're not finna keep trying to fix it off of our blood, sweat, and tears. I'm tired of it. I'm fucking tired of it. You know what I'm saying? Tess was tired of it. Like I said, she had him turn the damn channel. Disconnect for a minute. Okay. But the one biracial family, the Pearsons, they can't unite right now themselves the way that their family on the Family Feud. It's called Family Feud. They can't unite right now in full. So Maddie suggests that they pack up a camper and head to the cabin and go be with Becca. Plus it's the Big Three's birthday coming up, number 40. Then the baby moves, and I'm not sure if it was just one or both, but Kevin and Maddie have a moment and they end up in bed together again. So that separate room shit, that ain't gonna happen, right? You can tell Maddie has been all in from the beginning, and Kevin, it seemed like he's starting to catch feels. He's up all night stroking her arm and shit, and they cuddle in the afterglow of their love making. Meanwhile, across the country, Randall was up all night too, because no justice, no peace of mind. That's just where he's at right now. 3 weeks later, it's their birthday, and Randall is burdened with work. He seems disengaged from Beth and the girls, from reality a little bit. And Beth and the rest of the girls think he's going through an episode. Hell, Beth was about to bust it wide open for him, and Randall was like, nah, can I get a rain check on that? She's like, I look like I'm a fucking car wash. He's like, no, serious, I need a rain check on that. He didn't even want to celebrate his own birthday. Y'all know Randall was all about celebration. So they got so much going on right now, and so much going on in the world. Even Beth's dance studio has been shut down, but it was just understandable because of the Rona. She's like, well, what do you want to do then, Randall? Okay, you don't want to go out to the cabin where the rest of the family is at? And he's like, I don't even want to talk about that. You know what I'm saying? He don't even feel connected to his family. He doesn't even feel like he's part of his family. You know what I'm saying? He knows for a fact his brother regrets the day that he was even brought home. And then he says, I'm not even sure if that's my birthday. I don't know what happened that day. I've been lied to about so much. That probably ain't even my birthday. And who knows if that's not a lie too. And then he said, like, think about it, really. A newborn baby made it to a fire station, then a hospital, and then a new family all in one day. Make it make sense. And I say, when you really think about it, it don't. When you really think about it, it don't make sense. And I know that the safe haven laws didn't exist back then in the 80s, but usually a fire station would keep a baby at least 72 hours to see if the parent was going to return. But anyway, then we get William, my dear sweet William. Y'all know how I feel about William. And who do we get more of? Laurel, Randall's mom. We really don't, like I said, she's been a blip on the radar as far as Dr. Lee said. And now we get to learn a little bit more about Laurel. All that we knew of her, we learned through William. And that wasn't much. And William wakes up. It looks like he's in a stupor, coming out of a high. The baby's crying. Laurel is seemingly passed out over there on the bed. He goes over to her side. When he flips her over, drool just drips down her face. And you see the spoon, the dirty spoon on the table with the foil, you know, the lighter. So we know the drug has been involved. At least we believe. Then we flash back a little bit further to find out a little bit more who she is. She's a political activist, to say the least, struggling with the addiction of heroin that has been pushed into our communities by our government, you know. Anyway, she was giving up all the drugs, all the drinking, all the squares, because why? She's pregnant, you know what I'm saying? And so how did we get here? How did we get to this point where now she's here OD'd? Because she was giving up that narcotic, right? So then we go back and we see all over again how it began for the Pearsons. We've seen this before. Becca's in labor. Jack is running around with like a chicken with his head cut off, trying to make sure they have everything for the hospital stay. And then we go up to the cabin where current day with Becca and Miguel. This relationship still throws me, y'all. I'm in love and intimate with my dead husband's best friend. Like I said, I know cops and firemen do this all the time. They have a history hooking up with their deceased partners' wives or whatever. But I still can't wrap my head around it. I just can't. I look at my husband's best friend as my brother. I did for a long time. And I thought if for some reason my ex-husband's my husband would have died while we was married, his best friend would have been there for me as my brother, not as my lover. It just seems so strange to me, because when I build relationships and bonds with my husband's or my mate's friends, they're like brothers to me. And that's just how I see them. So anyway, she asked Kate about the adoption and says back in her day it was so simple. You know, they took Randall home the same day. So that kind of explains he did go home with them the same day that they saw him at the hospital. But that was 40 years ago. But I'm thinking this is not Randall's birthday. For real, because Laurel had that baby the night before. I mean, he woke up. He went through all the little shenanigans, and then the baby ended up at the hospital. She didn't have the baby the same day as Kate. Randall was older than them. He's not a twin. This is another divide. Another way to show how I am so separated from the Pearsons. I'm part of this family, but I'm not. I thought I was part of this big three, but I'm not. I never was. He really never was. But anyway, that's my thoughts. So we back at the house with Madison now. She's apparently fell off a suitcase while Kevin was in the shower, and she hasn't felt the baby move in 20 minutes. So they need to rush to urgent care to find out what's going on. Becca wants to make the kids a cake and everything, so she ventures off to the store. We saw that play out last season. We go back to William and reflect more about his time with Laurel and the EMTs that are trying to revive her. And Laurel was a person who was trying to keep her past, which is why William didn't know much about her. That's why he couldn't tell Randall much about her. She said she didn't like that part of her, the part of her before she knew him. So she didn't talk about it. And he understood that he never asked her anything about her life before. So many of my family members are like that. I'm here at 47 now trying to discover who I am as a person through ancestry DNA and trying to make connections and bonds. Maybe that's why I'm so chatty with my daughter. I talk about pretty much everything with her. I want her to know me, who I am. I don't want her to be with her children and her great grandchildren or grandchildren, whatever, and saying that she didn't know who I was as a person. That she couldn't know that chapter of her life has been closed off to her. I didn't want her to be that person. So anyway, her daddy, that's a whole nother story. It's a whole nother story. But anyway, I was right, child. I was right. Randall was not born the same day as the Pearson twins. The EMT asked when she took the drugs, and William said yesterday she had the baby. She didn't want to go to the hospital. She was in a lot of pain. When he said that, I was like, oh shit, he not a twin. Well, we knew he wasn't a twin anyway. He not really part of the big three. And oh shit too, William killed his mama. I could understand now why William went back to using drugs. To carry that weight, that I killed the woman I love, that I'm responsible for putting those drugs in her system. She asked for it. That's just a feeling that he probably had. My chest got heavy. My chest got heavy when they stopped doing that CPR on her, and William's face, the actor that plays William, when he said, "Is she gone? Is she gone?" The wind that caught in his lungs. The younger EMT looked on him with fear and sadness. With this, and the other one had disgust and shame. You know, you fucking drug addicts. That's what he was probably thinking. Is she gone? Randall, not even a full 24 hours old. He just crying in his arms. The older EMT said, call it. And call child services too. Sir, we gonna need you to wait right here. William said, the fuck I will, and he took off. Okay, so he rolled past the firehouse, and as Jack and Becca was heading to the hospital at the same time, we're having a crash moment. Everybody finna crash into one place at this time. And at the we back at the urgent care, and the doctor's not hearing both of the babies in Madison's stomach. So she want to run for the test. So now they panicking, but she said, "Don't worry, don't try not to panic." That's not the news they wanted to hear though. And I was thinking they finna have an emergency C-section on the birthday, and the twins finna come. That's what I was thinking. Okay. Anywho, that say they showed that scene again where Kate's on her way to the store and she thought she saw William, and we knew she was having an episode because William's already dead. But my thing about that whole episode was it's supposed to be in the middle of the Rona. This is the only thing I think they kind of lacked. They didn't re-film that scene and have them with masks on. Everybody's out here panicking. She's worried about people coming into her house. Have you quarantined? Have you got tested? And here you go walk yourself out in the street with no mask on, and everybody else in this scene didn't have one on either. So I found that to be a little off in editing there, but other than that, okay. But going back to William freed himself from fatherhood by placing Randall at the fire steps. No, Laurel made him promise that he was gonna find him a family, make a family for him. And William said he can't do this alone. So he put that baby on that doorstep, okay. Originally she wanted to try to get a promotion. That was going to mean they was going to be able to move upstairs to the 2-bedroom apartment, with the sun in. And then her fears about being a good mother had crept in, you know what I'm saying? So even her friends were taken from her. They were arrested for protesting and everything. And she's like, where does that leave us in a world like this? We always being held back. Back at Randall's in current day, Quarantine Malik is coming by for his 1-year anniversary with Deja. This conversation hit me with the feels, y'all. I cried a lot during this opening episode. It hit me with the feels. Damn, I need to be leaving out the house right now. How far I gotta go? I'm almost done. Okay, good. So Malik and his family, they had been out there protesting. Malik goes on telling how him and his dad, they decompress after a situation like this happened. It started with Trayvon Martin. But Randall never had that go-to person when he was growing up to help him decompress. Growing up, he was alone in his home as a black individual. They tried to shelter him from what was happening in the outside world. But as he got older, he was able to watch it on TV, and he had nobody to help him break down those feelings, those emotions, help him understand what was going on. Which I think is why he drew so close to that doggone black teacher that he had. Wow. I was saying in this part, it's funny how people were bitching about this part of Randall's reality being told. Like I said, they was probably pissed off at Daryl or Linda. I talked about that before too. I keep seeing people on Facebook talking about how ungrateful Randall is in this moment. He got this good, wholesome family that took him in and saved him, and all he could do was talk down to them and about them. They love Randall's black ass until this season. You know what I'm saying? They mad that Randall's not mad at William for abandoning him, but he could talk shit about the white people that saved him. Anywho, Randall was like a kid. These type of things never really happened in our house, right? But when I got older, he watched it. He had to deal with it on his own. It's all coming to surface as the older he gets, Then Kate's call again. And that's when Randall ignored it. And that's when he said, yeah, I realized, Malik, that you're my only friend. In his mind, Kate was reaching out to him again for his blackness again. I don't know if that makes sense. Like when I'm at work, I'm short and the lights are kind of high up. And I always say, hey, can I borrow your height? You know, Kate's borrowing his blackness to try to understand and try to cope with what she's feeling. But this time it wasn't about that. It was about Becca, and she was so lost. So Randall heads up to the cabin. And then we go back to Kevin and Maddie at the hospital. And he came to the realization that she sees him as a person, his flaws and all, and accepts him and cares about him in spite of the type of person that he's been or that he feels he's been. So let's get married. I should marry you. But this whole scene reminded me of when Toby and Kate was in the car talking about adopting another child. And anyway, in the car, Maddie said, you know what, I'm going to let you off the hook. But Kevin said, no, this is what I want. So like I said, this is following the same storyline, the same flow of Kate and Toby adopting the baby. Back with Laurel and William. He promises her that, like I said, I think I mentioned this already. He had promised her that if she can't be the mom for Randall that he needs, that he will make him a family. But he was thinking of that moment, and he got off the bus and he headed to the hospital, because he promised Laurel that he would make a family. So he went back to the hospital, and then we see the newly engaged Maddie and Kev head back to the cabin and everything, and Randall was heading there as well. And at the hospital, William finds the maternity room. He's looking for the sign, and Jack is running past him with the radio in his hand. Becca's about to have a baby. See, Randall was born the day before. Becca is just now having a baby. They weren't born on the same day. Becca's giving birth and things go south, and Jack is escorted out. William peers into the window of the baby ward where he sees his son there crying. And then we flash back to where the cops find Becca and they bring her home, and they tell Miguel that, she had an episode or what have you. Kate is signing the police reports, and she recognizes that Kevin had called Madison, his fiance, and she's like, what's going on with that? You know what I'm saying? While Kate is trying to get the explanation about why Kevin wasn't answering his phone when she was trying to reach him, Randall shows up at the door. And it's this long, awkward pause between Kevin and Randall. And that's how we end that first episode. So I'm going to come back this weekend with part 2. Because you see how long this one is. This was a doozy. This is just the first part. I was in my feeds. I had to talk about some shit. So this is part 1. This is 40, the season premiere. And we will have part 2 coming up this weekend. I have a business launch this weekend, y'all. I'm trying to start my business and become this serialpreneur. People call it entrepreneur. And thank y'all for being here. Thank you for watching. Leave your comments down in the comment section. I am not going to cater to anybody's fucking feelings. I'm not going to explain in the comment section any more of what I've said. If you didn't hear what I said in this video, or if you can't find your own understanding, check yourself. I'm not going to keep explaining it to you. That's all I got to say about that. All right? But we can talk about the show. You have a good day. Peace.